Does teamwork really make the dream work? Solo versus team game development.
We all start out solo to be able to learn, grow, and decide which aspect of game design and development we like best. But after a while, you may consider joining a team or a game studio. At that point, only you can decide if working solo or with a team seems more appealing to you. Now, let's parallel pros and cons of team-based indie game development with that of solo game development. We'll start with what many people think is the main pro of team-based game development.
Faster development time. There's only so many hours in a day, and no matter how good or fast you are, this is something that no one can change. Having more than one person work on a game can not only seemingly allow it to be done faster, but also allow it to be bigger in scope, since the game's development time is now divided among the people that are working on the project.
And the con. Did you notice we said seemingly allow it to be done faster? Just because you have more people doesn't necessarily mean your development will be faster. In fact, with a wrong team, in many cases, your development time can be substantially longer than if you had done it solo. The reason for this varies from team to team, but some of the common reasons are: large gaps between experience and skill among each developer. In cases such as this, you're only as strong as your weakest link. Too many ideas being tossed around and tried, aka too many cooks in the kitchen. Different motivations and expectations among team members, i.e. a team divided. Keep in mind, there are a vast number of reasons a team may fail or unnecessarily extend a game's development time. But to save time, we've only listed a few of the most common ones.
Pros. It can teach you to work with a team. If your goal is to get a job in the industry one day, it's pretty much a given that you're going to be working alongside fellow artists, programmers, designers, and animators. Learning how to work properly with a team of your peers early can be the difference between landing a job and not landing a job. Most recruiters, leads, or managers can usually tell after a quick conversation if the candidate will not only be a good fit for the position, but for the team as well. Team dynamics is extremely important in good game development studios. No matter how good your work is, or how skilled you are at your job, if they think by bringing you on board, it will break that dynamic, they'll pass over you without a second thought.
Cons. Working with a bad team can sour your perspective on working with a team. If you stay in the game long enough, you're bound to get or work with a bad team or team member, especially early on in your development, education, or career. It could be something as simple as a clash of personalities to something as big as them literally trying to sabotage your work, the project, or in extreme cases, working to get you fired. Unfortunately, many times in these cases, your options can be pretty limited. You can either work it out and learn to get along, or worst case scenario, either they leave or you leave. If after several teams you find yourself running into the same problem, however, you may need to do a bit of self-examination, that or you're really unlucky. In any case, no matter whose fault it is or was, use it as a learning experience. Examine what you and they did wrong. It will help you know how to deal with those kinds of people or situations in the future. It will also help you better identify the kinds of people or situations you want to avoid in the future, if at all possible.
Pros. More people can mean a more diverse set of skills. Let's face the facts. Games are large and complex, and at the very least, creating one requires art in some form of programming. Whether it's 2D or 3D, game development requires a large diverse set of skills. And when starting from scratch, learning and mastering them all is nigh but impossible. Even in large game studios, each aspect of game development is handled by its own set of specialists.
Cons. We were very careful when we said, can mean a more diverse set of skills, because that's not always the case when forming a team. Ever heard the phrase, like attracts like? In short, it breaks down to, we like people and tend to hang around people like us. And the more you get into game design and development, the more you begin to fall into the diverse categories within its field, such as programmers, 3D modelers, texture artists, animators, UI and UX artists, and producers, just to name a few. A well-versed team has each of these, or people that can generalize in one or more of the different categories. And while things such as the Unity Asset Store, Unreal Marketplace, Turbo Squid, and countless other sites allow developers to purchase game-ready 3D and 2D assets, environments, and scripts, making it possible to allow a team of only artists or only programmers to produce a game, teams such as these will be confined to only the things they'll be able to purchase.
Pros: collaboration, accountability, and teamwork. We group these three together because they go hand in hand and are the cornerstones in what makes a good team great. The key to a good team is coming together and creating something greater than the sum of its parts. A good team is one that can collaborate with one another while holding each other accountable for their part of the project and still working together to account for each other's shortcomings, all the while motivating one another, especially when times get rough, or some aspect or function of the game isn't working the way you initially envisioned or expected it to. These three things are the most important part of a team, and a team with them can be far more successful than a much more experienced team without them.
Cons: no matter how good or skilled each individual on a team is, a team missing one or more of these things is inevitably doomed to fail. We've all seen games with great art but horrible or non-responsive gameplay, or vice versa. This simply goes to show you, no matter how good each individual is in their field of expertise, if they can't come together as a team, there's a good chance the game they're working on will fail. That's assuming the team can even survive the whole development process. And to make matters worse, being a part of a team missing these things makes game development a painful, nightmarish experience. Game development should be fun and exciting, but we'd be lying if we said it wasn't hard and frustrating at times. So multiplying those frustrations by a bad team isn't a way anyone should want to spend their free time.
In conclusion, only you can decide if working solo
or with a team seems more appealing to you. And if you choose to work with a team, remember,
finding a good team is like finding love. It may take a while, and the first few may not be a good fit.
But trust us, the pain is worth the reward. Whatever you decide, always remember,
don't just play, create.